in this breakaway, having his monumental success and celebrity. There was his Tour de France win in 1986, which came after a bitter feud with teammate Bernard Hinault. Disenchanted and forlorn, Le Mans seemed as unhappy as if he had lost the French race. But the bitterest tragedy of Le Mans' life came in April 1987, when he was accidentally shot while turkey hunting. This man, so magnificent, so gifted, was now broken, helpless, struggling to hold on to life. But then again, maybe Greg LeMond's life really is a fairy tale. After all, what good story doesn't have a little poignant tragedy? When Greg LeMond beat Laurent Fignon by 8 seconds, he not only won the most exciting Tour de France in history, he also capped the most remarkable comeback in cycling, perhaps in any sport. Now, Greg LeMond leads a contingent of 12 American cyclists to the 1989 World Cycling Championship. For LeMond, it is a sentimental homecoming of sorts, for it is in this race in 1983 that he put his name into the exclusive ring of men who are called Super Champions.
Okay, gonna start the moves.
Greg LeMond and the World Cycling Championship dates back to LeMond's beginnings. At the age of 15, he wrote in his personal diary that the two races he most wanted to win were the Tour de France and the World Cycling Championship. And so, can Greg LeMond become only the 5th man in history to win both the Tour de France and the World Championship in the same year? The answer today, as 190 professional cyclists ride the difficult circuit in Chambéry, France, to contest the Rainbow Jersey. Here, as ESPN brings you the World Cycling Championships.
Okay, let's get on the bike. Yes, I can get the shoes on.
This is Chambéry, a city in the heart of the French Alps, a stage upon which the Tour de France is often decided. Today the setting is much the same, but the featured attraction is entirely different. Hello everyone, I'm Brian Drever. Welcome to the 1989 World Cycling Championships. In most sports, the symbol of victory is a cup or trophy, but in cycling the most coveted prize is simply a piece of cloth. The most famous is the yellow jersey worn by the leader of the Tour de France. But cycling's other most coveted prize is the rainbow jersey that will be awarded here today, and the winner will wear it proudly for an entire year. That rainbow jersey has been worn by Italian Maurizio Fondriest for the past year. Today he wears the sky blue of the Italian national team. He is here not by virtue of his results, but only because he is the defending champion. Injured most of this year, he's not expected to be a contender. This year, cycling's title race comes to Chambéry, France, a city nestled in the valley of the French Alps. It is the capital of French Savoie and about 30 miles from Albertville, the nerve center of the 1992 Winter Olympics. The hills that encircle Chambéry promise to make for the most challenging circuit in the World Championship since 1980, when the race was in Sallanches, no more than 30 miles down the road. The circuit is 7.7 miles long, and the riders will do 21 laps. The total distance is 163 miles. But the greatest challenge will come from the Côte de Montagnol climb, 7.25% for 2.5 miles. And bike racing is big time in Europe, and all the stars are household names, celebrities who must constantly dodge paparazzi and autograph seekers. Not surprisingly, the hottest autograph belongs to the stars of the French national
Just check that
team.
gearing.
The biggest
Okay.
race of the Tour de France, and many of the
That's
sports
working.
stars have
That's good.
historically been Frenchmen. But France's top rider, Laurent Fignon, was also reclusive and temperamental. The other top Frenchman, Charlie Motet, is warmer, but also not as talented. By a strange twist of fate, it is Bernard Hinault who is coaching the French team, and a relaxed smile surely conceals the pressure it must feel. For both Hinault and Fignon, this race on French soil is the last chance for revenge at Greg LeMond's expense.
Okay, so I've got the big group around me today. A lot of good retro riders. Okay, so it'll be very, very lucid drafting when the climb starts.
And for the first time in a professional championship, the mellifluous sound of Russia is heard. This inaugural Soviet professional team is an unknown quantity. Isolated at the end of the row of captains is Team USA. First to arrive is Andy Hampson of Boulder, who won the Tour of Italy in 1988. In Lamont's absence, Hampson would clearly be the top American rider. But with Lamont here and fit, Hampson, naturally reserved, seems to have faded into the woodwork a bit. Not long ago, the Americans would come to the World Championship with 2 or 3 riders. Today, there are many talented. As Lamont makes his entrance, the crowd shouts his name and the press corps swarm around him. Out of sight and out of reach of the crowd, Andy Hampson contemplates the peculiar effort of the World Championship. Lamont, always the innovator, has decided to ride a new carbon fiber bike today. This is the kind of risk most cyclists would be unlikely to take in such an important race. Taking risks is what has made Lamont exceptional. He's inspired Europeans for nearly a decade, and now his story has moved Americans as well. When we return, a look at Lamont's phenomenal career.
La route départementale 520 rises out of the valley of Grenoble to the Col de la Placette. It's quite an ordinary French secondary road, except that today, the winner of the Tour de France is training on it. That, of course, is American Greg LeMond, author of the miraculous comeback. He's also, remarkably, the new British sports hero of France. They say the French are a chauvinistic lot, and a strong argument could be made for that claim. But although LeMond be the Frenchman to win the Tour, his story so transcends the trivialities of nationalism that he's revered as if he were himself French.
And what an unlikely turn of fortune, and before that, Greg LeMond was always seen as the winner of the 1986 Tour de France, and the American story, the Frenchman Bernard Hinault. Cycling here in Europe has gone on for more than 100 years. In fact, it started before the auto came along. And it's fair to say that the Victorian attitude has remained for a long time. Greg LeMond came with an American attitude. He came here purely to win money and professional bike riding. And that was something the European did not understand. He also came along, liking to drive fast cars and playing golf in the middle of the cycling season. And above all, he liked his house green. And this was hardly the attitude of a top professional athlete. Then came the injury when Greg LeMond was shot. And after that, the long fight company showed the courage of a top cyclist. After that, popularity increased enormously. Then came the Tour de France in July 1989, and Greg LeMond beating Laurent Fignon by just 8 seconds. You would have expected a Frenchman on his hometown of Paris to get all the cheers. Instead, Laurent Fignon was booed into second place, and the cheers were reserved for Greg LeMond, and they could have been heard all across Europe.
A long climb. So this is about 350, 400 meters more climbing than the zwift version of this route.
Certainly accomplished something very exceptional indeed. In the beginning, there was little to suggest that a non-boy would be exceptional anyway. But under that typical all-American veneer, the lad and athlete of such dimension and talent. At a time when Americans were grateful to finish international competition and winning was entirely out of the question, LeMond nonchalantly made history by winning 3 medals at the 1979 Junior World Championships, a record that still stands today. Such was the meteoric rise of Greg LeMond.
8% moves, 8% gradient. I could change to about 9.5 or so, it looks like.
He didn't win, and in his second tour, he sacrificed his chance for teammate Bernardino. This marked the start of a long period for Le Mans. Oh, sure.
About 10% gradient.
1985 World Championship, but Le Mans could see now an ugly side of cycling. He felt bitter, at war with his team, at war with his sport, and perhaps even at war.
Hill climb race tomorrow at 10 o'clock is in Wales.
Won the Tour de France in 1986. He felt so stretched and abused that he could scarcely enjoy winning the most coveted prize in cycling.
So I'm going to give the 9 AM race a miss, because it's only minimal elevation. And I'll end up burning myself out, trying to get a fast time.
In America, though, the situation was entirely different. Le Mans was the obvious golden boy of an invigorating sport. He appeared on morning news shows, made popular appearances, and wrote a book. But just when it seemed Greg LeMond might be turning a corner in April 1987, his world came crashing down in a flurry of gun show. Out turning hunting, he was accidentally
They're
shot.
still 50 seconds ahead of my PB at the moment.
And so, the greatest athletes alive then and he,
But I'm not sure how long that will last.
There seemed to be no end to the calamity Le Mans suffered, but on the road to recovery he was filled with appendicitis, then later it was tendinitis. Yet all this trouble had a strangely healing effect. He moved away from Southern California to Minnesota, where he was more comfortable with the decency of Midwestern manners. Of course, we all know this story has a happy ending, and it's ironic how tragedy has a way of reinforcing life's happier moments. Greg LeMond doesn't hide the fact that without the hunting accident, his recent success wouldn't be nearly as poignant. Now, Greg LeMond has become what's known as a hot property. Warner Bros. Will make a movie on the story.
Okay, so the plan, if you look on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see the KOM ride at the moment, you'll see me, and then you'll see me again below and below.
Success does have that effect.
They're about a minute behind, or a minute ahead of my PB at the moment. So when that blue gets to 5 minutes, it means I can relax on the power a little bit.
Whatever his personal motivations, fame and fortune keep coming Le Mans' way. Even so, Le Mans still lucidly recalls that until recently things were completely different.
There were times where I was getting rocked and I couldn't say to people that normally I could keep up with when I was a good change of domain. So, I had some really hard times in the last year. It's weird sometimes that I have a little result and my attitude would change, and as soon as I felt good, a month later down the road, I felt I had made no progress. So most of the pretty fast moves naturally sick because of not the stress. This year was relatively easy because any result I had, I was happy with. When I was on the first time on the first match, I felt joy and I was just satisfied right there. That was the only thing I did the whole first time, was satisfied. And things just kept getting better.
Of course, the Greg LeMond story hasn't simply ended with the Tour de France. If nothing else, the American wants to continue to win and prove that his victory in the French race wasn't merely a fluke. Now it's the World Championship on which LeMond has set his sights, and as always, it is a race he is motivated to win. With the world in Chambéry, this is a good opportunity to drop into the Filon Vietnamese restaurant, the closest thing the region has to offer to a good Chinese restaurant like the kind LeMond knows in Minneapolis. Even in his earlier heyday, it was always said of LeMond that he could win a big race, but he could never win as many races as the great European champions of old. Or feasting over a plate of salad, egg and eggs, and prawns in Vietnamese sweet and sour sauce, LeMond is clearly a changed man.
So my PB on this climb, this particular climb, is an hour and 12 minutes for the full route. I'm not sure the climb path itself, but the entire route, including the easy part at the top and the bottom, it's an hour and 12. Now my climbing strength is about 350 to 400 meters VAM less than this time last year. Looks like Charlie left. Okay, it's 8:30 p.m. Okay, I recognise this section. So I'm going to be off a few days next week.
But then came Stephen Brooks.
Wednesday, Thursday and Friday.
Just 2 kilometres on the climb, he closed 32nd on the leaders. He hadn't caught them yet, but it won't be long now.
Got 3 cinema visits.
Crowd at last the face many people recognise. Into the mountain this year's Tour de France.
You'll look the new Michael Jackson biopic.
Further behind, the pack had shrunk from the original 190 starters to a mere handful. Still the famous names were there. Sean Kelly, Bob Fignon,
So you can go and
and still to make their move.
watch the peace screenings before the weekend rush.
Persistent rushing
That'll be better.
just behind him. Now the field were in full flight. Sean Kelly was in the leading group, so too was Martinelli. But look at this. Stephen Brooks, the Dutchman, on the descent to go to Montagneau. Just over 10 miles to go to the finish. Stephen Brooks had joined the front two. And as the riders came through to begin their final lap, the rain still coming down, the 3 leaders were in sight now of all of the chasers. The big names were coming back into the race.
Okay, so still feeling quite strong at the moment.
And among them, Bob Fignon, Sean Kelly, Steve
You
Bauer,
know what will happen.
Spain, Killian from Belgium, and Greg LeMond. We'll be back.
We'll do another 500 metres or so climbing. And then the bloody Ruby will crash again.
We're into the final 8 miles of this 163-mile race. Greg LeMond, Laurent Fignon, Sean Kelly, and the other favorites now have their hopes of winning the World Championship title very definitely alive.
So at long last, the favourites have made their move. They can see the 3 leaders now, and Greg LeMond is driving this group along. The American rider who's won the Tour de France, he's in the game in a chasing group. There he is at the front on the far left. He knows now too his greatest rival, Laurent Fignon, number 88, is right up behind him.
It's interesting, too, that the protagonists of last year's World Championships are also side by side. Steve Bauer and, of course, Bob Fignon, the subject of controversy 1 year ago.
So Fignon said something to Sean Kelly he didn't like, and I think it was go to the front, and Kelly told him, broad Irish, exactly what he called it back.
Sorrento of Spain is having an excellent year. His country well represented by this young man.
Director setting the pace at the front at the moment. He's been in the Tour of Italy, Tour of Spain, and the Tour of France this year. What a great season he's had, finishing 5th in the Tour of France.
The lead was almost 3 minutes, Phil. It went down to 40 seconds almost immediately. But since then, it's
I felt my leg go a bit weird there.
breakaway. It still
I'm going to get the massage done. Oh, I'm going to drop down to the easy. I just give my legs a little bit of a massage.
Considerable gap, as you say. There they are. And they're being led by Stephen Brooks, who did a terrific ride to cross this gap. Came across on his own. He's really added the power now to the engine here. Timmy Clapper, for my money, has been the star of this championship in second place. But now surely he's getting tired. He's been out in front for 95 miles.
Yeah, so it's a very small screening in the back of my left hamstring.
not only for the French crowd, but for everyone who's watched this race. I would agree with you. He really is.
So it's giving a bit of a massage at the moment with my the massage machine that I used to use for my running. Just for safety reasons. And then I can start back up again.
Back again to the breakaway now. Konishev on the right, Brooks on the left, and Tagliolé, the Frenchman. Here's Greg LeMond powering that breakaway.
Adjust it
alongside his
properly
friend,
again.
Steve Bauer.
These riders are absolutely soaked. This has been an horrendous day for them. The rain has been torrential. The course has been the most severe since Solange in 1980, and that, of course, is just a few miles down the road.
Gianni Pugnello and Sean Kelly and the others in the field, even there, looking behind themselves nervously.
Okay, so still got a good lead on my PR runs.
Killian on the far right, and on the left of the picture there, Steve Bauer back in the final showdown again. Last year, of course, we had that big controversial finish. These are the 3 leaders, and quite clearly, they are losing their impetus. Stephen Brooks is doing most of the work. Konishev is looking back, and it seems to me that Konishev
back into the big ring again.
I think the chase group now really senses the kill, and the body language of the breakaway tells us that yes, indeed, they feel like they're beaten at this point. So now, if anything, the pace of this chase is starting to pick up. Bauer in the front, and Fignon sitting in second spot.
It's the last chance for these now. This is the springboard, the final climb of the hill. If they don't go here, they can wave goodbye to the 3 medals because they're up the road. You've got Sean Kelly, you have at the back now Greg LeMond, on the far right in blue is Buño, and Martin Early to our far right at the back of that group. There they are, making their way up towards the Côte de Montagnol for the 21st and final time. And they're all that is left, and all who can affect this world title now, 190 set out.
Still a lot of nervous looking around, even among these 9 riders. They sense that the chase is going to be successful. They're looking to each other to make
Up down to 7.
And here now, Brooks leads the 3 up the hill. Very clearly alive. His hopes of winning still must be alive. I think of the 3, he's the only one being driven now, perhaps, by the crowd alone.
Tony Sheriff refused to do any of the pacemaking for the last couple of miles. 23-year-old Soviet man from Gorky. This is the first year we've seen the Soviets as professional riders. They've taken a little while to settle into the scene, but now it looks as though Tony Sheriff is beginning to impress. And there's an attack here. Laurent Fignon has accelerated
and rider is unbelievable.
So the great veteran of the World Championship, Sean Kelly, who's won a silver medal as far back as 1982 in England, is now back in this race. He's prepared for it, he wants to win it, and surely at 33 now, the man in green, this has got to be his last shot.
Certainly one of the most dangerous sprinters in the group. And here goes Lauren Fignon, not wanting to wait for a sprint against Sean Kelly or Greg LeMond or any of the others. Lauren Fignon again, very animated here as we come down to just the final mile and a half or so of this race.
6 rides remaining, Claverola dangling off the back, perhaps the last man from France is feeling the pressure. Fignon has eased, LeMond has marked him, and somebody's gone, and it looks to me as though Brooks has gone. Brooks has put in another attack, he's opened the gap. Now can they react? Fignon is tired after that attack.
And Greg LeMond having just caught Fignon also tired. Those two are watching each other. And here goes Brooks taking advantage of the hesitation. And once again, it's LeMond that takes up the chase.
Well, does Greg LeMond find his energy from this man will not give up this year. The winner of the Tour de France is now chasing down Stephen Brooks. Tremendous attack going on here by Greg LeMond. He could still win this World Championship if he can catch up with Stephen Brooks. In the World Championship press room, a few hundred feet from the maddening crowd at the finishing line, reporters from a dozen European nations have already begun filing their stories, even before the result is known. Others
The darkness is setting in.
or perhaps to call a curious editor in Paris. At the television grandstand, which is of Olympic proportions, the tension has mounted. And for Bob Lamont, Greg's father, and Fred Mengoni, Greg's mentor, the pictures tell it all. Greg is still in contention. Otto Jackon, Greg's faithful trainer, is also tense.
So when I get to 5 minutes out of my PR, I'm going to jump up the bike for moments and put the lights on. But at the moment I can't see what my gears are doing apart from on the screen. But I can't see what's on the cassette.
Well, Lauren Fignon has decided to take matters into his own hands here in the final kilometer of the race course. Less than half a mile to go now. LeMond is on his wheel, and Fignon making his bid for victory. Kelly's got the good position behind LeMond for Brooks and Claverola and the Soviet Konishev in the rest of the
so getting ready to jump off the bike.
Another chapter in the fairy tale. How do you feel?
Well, considering I thought about winning today. I mean, I imagined what it would be like winning, and but I didn't think it was really. I mean, I could have possibly I got prepared during the day, and then when I got in the race, I felt so bad. I really was ready to quit, and I just got put saying one more time, one more time. It worked out. Everything seems to be working out right now.
Things certainly are working out. Greg LeMond is world champion. The silver medal goes to Dmitry Konashev, bronze to Sean Kelly, and for Fino, a disappointing sixth. And so another chapter in the continuing story of Greg LeMond comes to a close. It's a story that was destined to be something quite extraordinary right from the beginning. But of course, just because his story has been exceptional hardly means it's anything like the fairy tale many would like it to be. Imagine the disappointment of winning the 1986 Tour de France and not being able to enjoy it. Or the injustice of being gunned down at the prime of an athletic career so brilliant it's unlikely to be equal in the foreseeable future. Of course, life's dark moments have a way of being easily swept aside
Everyone gets shot in a minute.
turn for the better. And now that Greg LeMond is riding high again and praised so highly by those who reviled him only months ago, let us not forget that perhaps most remarkable about this man is that he never lost the ability to believe in himself through the darkest times. For Phil Liggett, I'm Brian Drever. Thank you for joining us at the 1989 World Cycling Championships.
I can feel my leg going funny again, so I'm going to jump off the bike. I'm going to put the lights on. I'm going to give my hamstring a massage as well.
Spain have won no medals yet, but they're rather hoping that this man will supply them with a gold medal by the end. Alejandro Valverde of Spain.
Because we've got a few minutes.
Terrific form. He's been staying in the hotel, race from town.
That's recovery time anyway, so that'll do. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put on a second pair of double layer shorts to make my legs stretch a bit more and stop the potential cramp. That'll just raise me a little bit more on the seat, and maybe that'll help.
This is the 14 lapper. We continue around this circuit to 2 climbs.
So it's always the plan anyway of slowing down
that tricky right hand bend, and then we come down over the mirador climb and drop
when I got a good lead. So
now,
that's what the plan was anyway.
animation with Oscar, 3-time world champion and Matt Rinder.
I'm still ahead. Now I don't like the feeling on my left hamstring at all. Feels really off.
Australia, its home country, and in effect the home state of Victoria, because we have a new race next year, the elephant race on the Great Ocean Road on February the 3rd, all the road mountain race will go, and the other one that is going to take about today is like the Victorian
desperately trying to get spare bikes for these riders, and the reports I've seen so far is that they have found new bikes with the Team Sky and Team Susha. And those are of course the teams of Christoph and Edvald Borsson-Hahn. 160 riders across the finish line at the moment as we wait for the tall decline here. Those spectators are still out in force. Portuguese flags flying, Polish flags flying. And the time gap for all leaders is only down to 1:55. We have had a gap of over 15 minutes for our four heroes of the day. Carlos Julian Quintero, Matija Kazina, Zydrunas Zavickas, Alexander Polivoda. It has been a little bit dry, but now the rain is coming down.
We have attacks all the time in the other races. This will be pretty rough racing, but now they are right. It's taking them right. Over the top, but we care about the way down. I think UDS.
The Americans are losing quite a few riders at the moment, with Marcos being distanced. Also, Andrew Talansky, Hugh Rainer not in the main pack anymore. Also Del Evans being distanced at the moment. Not even the main pack anymore. Kelly Border or really Del is there.
Safety out and loading. Right there by
Northern Ireland, County Wicklow, with their forward 15. This is such a bad place. Down to three riders, Kenny Christopher Julius and Giovanni Visconti. But there's more coming there. One of the Portuguese riders, this is Thiago Chave. Very cautiously taking that turn where we already saw some riders go down in the other races. But luckily we haven't had big crashes so far, apart from the pretty horrific car crash by the Norwegian team car. Attack by Germany.
Attack by Germany. There are a few Spanish riders in that group as well. Borsson-Hahn is also up here now from Norway.
This is Michael Alpacini coming back. And Tim Bennett. Simon Keske. Visconti. Two Norwegians in this group. Remarkable, there are only three of them.
Yeah, Borsson-Hahn is there.
But they are of course working for Alexander Christoph. Simon Keske sporting the beard. Luckily for him, it has been proved in the wind tunnel that having a beard will not affect your aerodynamics. So he's keeping the beard. Beards are getting quite predominant in the peloton, with Dan Craven as being the biggest of the whole. But even Tom Bowman is doing the beard thing right now, and I sort of remember that even doing a little bit of a mustache this morning.
Now, 10 seconds in the moment. They're trying to put this matter back to rights here. We've got 7 riders, I think. Peloton regrouping on the line here.
Well, here are our leaders. Tim Bennett, Edvald Borsson-Hahn, Michael Alpacini. We have for Denmark, Christopher Julius, Giovanni Visconti,
So the first ball is exciting now with another team coming across here. There are 7 riders here.
We have a little bit of a discussion between Peter Kenyoff and Simon Geschke. Simon Geschke is repeatedly just shaking, no, I am not doing anything. Because he knows that behind him in this group are John Degenkolb and Andre Greipel. He did particularly well in the national race this year, but he had a flat on the last hill of the day. It's his first World Championships. Also one from Russia. And the Spanish are in this group. Tony Martin bridges to this group, as does Sepp van Marken.
Showing the name now of the Tony Martin, the Russian rider who was once again.
Is that Raikkonen as well for Estonia? As Rory Sutherland leads the chase here with Adam Hansen on his wheel, followed by Daniele Benatti, Fabio Arno and Jorge Rodriguez. And then on the left group there from South Africa, Romain Bardet, all the faces here, Sture. There's still a lot of
We start to tick down again over the top. Even the 32nd round, we've seen 32. And one of the strong riders that have come across set down off, particularly Tony Martin. Great time quality, no loss in the World Championship this time around in the last 3 years. Has come across this with a real powerhouse situation like this. Ryan Tarot, he was riding last time for a long time, the pedal one, he finds himself in the front group now.
He had a bit of a rough patch in his career at Raikkonen. He had some trouble with his respiratory system, and then had a surgery and came back to the Tour of Turkey to take the mountain stage there on El Mali mountain. That was a great comeback for him, and he's going to move to other teams as well. Going to leave Colombia next year, and he's going to sign with Astana.
13 riders in the top 7 in this group. Adam Navarro is also there. There we go in Spain, and coming across Navarro Caruso as well, Italy.
Missing out at the moment are the French, and I should add also the Dutch. Still not rainbow. I have to wait another 56 kilometers for that.
Yeah. Nice to see you. Edward is looking for the move.
Well, this is Tony Martin.
Who else? You said why not? This boy can descend. He gets a bit of that going back into the ride the whole remaining distance of this race on his own.
Well, he almost did it last year in the Tour of Spain, and how heartbreaking was it that in the end, 200 meters from the line, the peloton came back and Michael Morkov won the stage, but the entire world was cheering for Tony Martin. He lost his crown in the World Time Trial Championship to Bradley Wiggins, but of course, he can still do a mean race here in Spain.
Well, he's come off the winner today now. He's taking us around to the end of the lap. There'll be 3 laps left to go. Tony Martin is one of the main, and he's really helping his team by causing a total distraction. The most northern back of the group, Tim Mullins. The British rider's baby is Peter Kenyoff, the British national champion. Those Northern July looking over his shoulder. Kenya brings through the gap. Martin looking very relaxed. But what a terrible performance, Tony Martin. Lost his world time trial champion and in the same championships became the world road race.
Here's the chasing group. We have Giovanni Visconti, Gianpaolo Caruso, Simon Geschke, Peter Canio, Tim Bellens, Stefan Marke. But this is the lone leader at the moment.
Massive there, it's great. She's watching them, he's trying to make them chase him because they want to try and get an advantage here. Hammer home what they've taken on the way up. There's still a lot of big names missing from this group. In fact, all pretty big names are missing from this group right now.
The Germans are here with 9. They are missing, remarkably, I think, Martin Coulthard, but they're here with Degenkolb, Fröhlinger, Simon Geschke in this breakaway, Greipel, Knees, Martens, Tony Martin, Dominic Netz, and Paul Bosch. No relation to.
Martin's gone through. A group are chasing him at 8 seconds. 12 riders. Next group coming through here. Gap going out to me, half a minute now as they go through. Half a minute exactly. The Australians trying to repair the damage. Adam Hansen there, along with Matthew Heyman. Former Commonwealth Games champion Cancellara is in that group as well, so too the Smith against Rob. So too the British man and one of their favourites, Ben Swift, is in there. Darryl Impey, Warren Barguil, Kwiatkowski, all in that chase group, and they're most likely to, as they have 3 laps to go to the finish. And Tony Martin just keeping the pressure on here now.
Well, this might be an early move for John Degenkolb, though there has been a little bit of doubt to his form after the hugely successful Tour of Spain, where he won 5 stages. He was admitted to hospital with lymph nodes swollen to golf balls, as he said himself. He had to go on antibiotics, IV, and was in hospital for a few days. Said that he was not going to play a role in this final today, but the Germans have other cards to play, and I think André Greipel is one of them. Been on good form recently, and yeah, he could be one of them to play here.
Well, the one rider that everyone is concerned about right now is Tony Martin. The time trial king, even though he has lost his title with Bradley Wiggins chose to go directly home. It's not the English Championship. This year, Tony Martin has run 10 races and 7 of them on time trials.
All the way at the back at the moment.
35 seconds before it's split then. And
Average speed.
Might be coming together here.
Average speed going towards 39 k an hour. That brings us to the predicted race schedule with a finish around 4:30 local time. About 45 minutes left of racing.
So the breakaway, the original breakaway swept up there, but we still have Peter Kenya out there. And he's trying to get up to this man, Giovanni Visconti. Visconti could do with a bit of help, I think. He didn't go to get away at all. And Peter Kenya, trying to get a real great season, 6 underneath our camera here, comes right across the gap. Very talented man this from the Isle of Man. Left out of the Tour de France team, and was pretty unhappy about that.
Just took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say exactly the same thing.
What was that?
That Peter Kenya was left out of the Tour de France team there. We're not particularly happy about that.
No,
And he should have been there.
yes, but then there was talk about the team thinking that perhaps a little bit of an attitude problem which they didn't like. And so he actually went to Austria, and he threw everybody around. He led from start to finish the Tour of Austria. Now, Kenya joined up with the Italian. Nobody would work with Kenya in that race. They're all back in the pack now. These two are in a position to join in with the next counter-attack, should it reach them. 31 kilometres to go. Still nothing in it. This is the part where the softener has gone as we start this long climb. Culminates quite steeply. Kendrick, the
see them coming. He's working out. It's pretty cool at the moment, Peter Kenyon.
I think he looks pretty full most of the time.
Yeah, he's doing much stress at all. He's done a great with his championship and had a good end. And he was putting up with a great training partner, Ben Swift, who's been taught as the British favourite here. He's going to be a world champion in Britain. And in the end, 9 times out of 10, Swifty will always beat Peter Kenyon in the sprint. And in the national championship, Kenyon comes.
Well, sometimes there's little presence at the national championships, and I'm not saying it happened in Alpe, but it did happen. It did happen in Spain, where Alejandro Valverde just handed over the national title to young Zadire, basically just saying, here you go, you can have that jersey this year. Just keeping it in the Movistar team.
You're very suspicious there.
No, but if you see the finish pictures, come on, that was a clear presence.
There's great match in the rest of that in the field. Skills and Capua. These are the 2 leaders. Still trying to reorganise the chase. Nothing at all. They're actually waiting for somebody to come and join them here. That's why they're hanging up for them. And they think they might get the wish here. They're trying to move. No, shut down again at the back.
Telephone read by Russia at the moment. Russia don't have a great many riders left in this group. They have
You have to start paying a bit of attention back to the ride again, because my PB rider is now less than a minute behind me. He was 5 minutes behind earlier on.
We have word that Daniel Martin is dropping from this group as well as Del Evans. So the pace is up, and is that still the Reina Johnson or Esther over there? I'm pretty sure that one of these that's the riders. Yeah. Very solid performance. This time of year is always a good time for Reina Johnson or Esther. She was only victory last year in that dash unit down in all the way in October. And he won himself a lot of people with that.
If you're watching my ride, I appreciate your visit. Now, when I was about to join this route earlier on, it looked like what went on was doing a training ride on here. Of course, as soon as I got changed and jumped onto the ride, he had disappeared.
Little reaction from the Spanish team there coming.
So it might have just been somebody else using his name,
Do something. Haven't done
but it must have been Mouse himself.
now. The Italians are going to counter that attack. They see
I
that
don't know.
in the guy riding away. If you have to identify them from a helicopter shot, that's absolutely impossible. These are our 4 leaders with Kirienka joining
He is doing a group ride. I think it's tomorrow. Oh, sorry, Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. I think.
Kirienka not just there yet. Orsini also following there on your screen, trying to bridge to this breakaway. There's Orsini.
8 seconds over the climb.
Followed by Clark. Orsini. That's Esteban Chavez. For the Belgians, it's is it Sepp Mark again? It is Sepp Mark. Viejo is there for Spain. This is Dani Moreno, Simon Clark, and then Laurent Baptiste, all the French. And then the Polish, they have only one rider left, as Mateusz Bartecki, and Bartosz now leads the peloton. Only Mateusz Bartecki left for Kwiatkowski. And Van Avermaet, he's there, they're all there for the Belgians.
They're in the big ring.
Great
Okay, so everybody is chatting on the YouTube at the moment. I can't see you anymore because I'm not looking at my stream.
Well, Nibali has not been dropped. He is in this first group. As still is Sonny Colbrelli. Do not forget that.
But when
name,
I
Sonny Colbrelli.
pay attention to the stream,
Sprinters, same goes for Bill Impey.
I
Still
fall
holding
behind several
a
minutes.
little bit further for John Degenkolb. Michael Matthews is in that first group as well. Adam Hansen managed to return to it. Bernard Johnson Oliver still there for South Africa. And number 40 just holding on to that ground all the way at the back.
So there is a sprint at the end of this ride. If you look at the route profile now,
Very tough.
the right hand side at the very end, that green line, the bottom,
A month ago, I
indicates a sprint.
that was after his fantastic first win in the World Cup. I said there's no doubt in my mind that John Degenkolb was going to win this World Championship. He came over that after 22nd position, just ahead of Philippe Gilbert and Tom Overhaul. That's great company to be in, the guys that already have a world title to their name. And after the win of Roland Overhaul, after the win of the Future Time Trials, and then some after the Time Trial World Championship by Lisa Brenner, we're going to have another very big chance here with John Degenkolb.
You'll be hitting the gravel section soon. We're hitting the start line
Also still in that.
of where the downhill
This is going to be a
mega avalanche
last lap for that.
downhill ride takes place or starts from.
I'm not working, said Gauthier. Well, Margaret wants to work, but Gauthier is absolutely doing nothing. If you see him taking over this group, you see that there's nothing to it, and Margaret Anderson takes over immediately.
So that tends to happen, or I think it happens in the winter, because it always starts on the snow.
Only for the fact that Basil Karienka, to see him smile, I would love to have him on the podium. I've never in my life seen Basil Karienka smile. There's always that same serious, focused look on his face on the bike. And he's a workhorse. He does so many skills. That's a great job working time for him and for women as well. Peloton are in the home straight still at the moment. They are at about 400 meters to go. Same goes for Stefano Marco. It's Castro Viejo for the Spanish, Albacini for the Swiss, and Dani Moreno for the Spanish. They are looking at each other, and the peloton is led by Matej Paterski for Poland. Paul Martins there for Germany. And Daniele Benatti as well. Don't think he can hand out bottles at the moment, but
Nobody will feel safe taking all of these riders down to the finish, and these are the four leaders up front: Demarchi, Gauthier, Anderson, and Kirienka. So Demarchi's got the strength of the Italian team to block falling behind. They won't react to this. situation here, and the market is a very strong man on the hills.
Tibosso there for Cyril Gauthier. Might rue it that he didn't take one.
I'm just thinking though that Kirienka, how many times has he been in a win situation like this and it hasn't happened?
Well, it doesn't happen a lot for domestiques to win. But when they do, it makes it all the sweeter. And just for the fact of seeing a smile on Vasil Kirienka's face.
No, they've got the World Champions jersey on, riding Team Sky. Oh, they'll feel it was a British winner. Philippa, 40 seconds. No good. Alexander Anderson on the front there. Did this on the stage of a well-placed bagger. He really figured his team over the climb. They couldn't get rid of him and he won the game.
It's over for them.
That's for short. It's still 12 seconds that gap, and Gauthier just hangs on. A little linkage at the back there, locked in. He offers no help at all. Just cannot lift the ante at all. Gauthier sitting there.
More firepower from the Belgians now. They are going to help out.
Honestly, I've never seen the Belgians ride quite so well in a long time. They're riding very well, the Belgians today.
One rider left for Ireland. I think it's Roach.
It's Roach, it's Nicholas Roach down there on the far left, I think.
And where is Peter Segal? Well, one more second if it comes to the GPS now, but we're going to see them on our intermediate timing very soon.
And then we're going to fly down towards the downhead for the last time, and then onto the Mirador. Once over the Mirador, if they drop this little gap,
It's all or nothing.
they can take it to the finish. The Italians done a good job, but it's now reinforced. This is a little flick on up the hill now. This is really steeper. This is where somebody must really try and keep away.
Here are four leaders. Alessandro De Marchi for Italy, Vasil Kirienka, Belarus, Michael Bogdan Anderson for Denmark, and Cyril Gauthier for France. But Gauthier seems to be cooked and has been for quite a few kilometres now.
Very tenacious rider, I'll give it that. As he hangs on the back here. Going to the 250 kilometre to the top of the Mirador and on check.
8 seconds, race radio says gap in between these four. You can see Gauthier looking.
Okay, so equipment today
He's still there. 4
is the Trickmadone anniversary bike
Now this is the rundown.
and the Cadex Aero Max 50s, the wheels.
Downhead. The pedals not going to take this. As they must do. 8 seconds the gap now, they're coming. It's going to become the battle of the Mirador climb to the cycle championship, it appears. Master Essex will go over the downhill. And the distance there. Very good. See the way down. The second wheel. Still Kirienka. They say it's 6 seconds now. As they get round the corner, these corners got around safely, but 6 seconds absolutely nothing. And they're right too, because that's the same corner, and the peloton so he's very clean, his car, and this is why they made the move.
This is a good run
Well,
still.
it's a little clear, it's not the rest of the good moment. Taking it down here, going on, 6.8 kilometers to go, going back to the over on the road.
Very exciting this is. Who is going to take the rainbow jersey home? Rui Costa, for it for a year. Who's going to be his
there.
But he is an excellent bike rider. He knows how to go down on that descent. He has very good bike skills.
So I feel that he's got the rest of the race here now. 18 seconds he's pulled out. Is he stealing the thunder of the Spanish, the Australian, the Italian? They would have to start chasing now.
Well, the Spanish only have one rider there at the first across the peloton, and nobody's doing anything. And this is a race forward. It was a fantastic moment decided by Michał Kwiatkowski. Is this what it is?
I think he'll recover in a few seconds. Okay, that'll do me.
To keep everything together for this man, and he certainly played his card to try and do the best he can.
This is our chase group with Simon Garrett, with Philippe Joubert, with Alejandro Valverde.
Gilbert just found on the back area. He's giving the Kwiatkowski now 14 seconds on the course. Now, is the danger now, is this still Valverde kept in the attack? Because I haven't got him at all just at the moment. But there's no doubt who this man is, and this is Kwiatkowski trying to...
Okay, now, if I hadn't been chatting on YouTube, and if I hadn't gotten off the bike to give my hamstring a massage and put the lights on, that might have been right another 3-4 minutes ahead. That's all the finish is right by now, maybe. Okay, going to pop into the small changing at the moment.
Still leading, Michał Kwiatkowski.
Oh, a little bit of a speed level, but he's come off that bend, hits the barriers, drives toward the finish. This will be the most...
Okay, so after this rise, I'm going to jump onto a
Followed by
downhill recovery,
Tony Galopin is there for France.
and then I might return to the set climb again for the second time.
Oh, they're coming in fast now, but still led by Poland by Michał Kwiatkowski after 6.5 hours of racing.
This is the gap. It looks from this distance though it might well be enough. They're just over a kilometre and a bit from the finish here. Kwiatkowski a little bit closer. The pace is still there here. There's no thought that Gilbert saying anything for the sprint. He is
Back into the big ring.
keep this race together. And the man who could well finish up the winner will be Tony Galopin. There's Kwiatkowski. He's heading for the kilometre side. And Packer reforming. But the camera will shorten the length here. Gilbert grits his teeth. Galopin is in this group as well.
yeah. Hell yeah.
It was the
Whew.
exact right time to go.
What a great team tactics by Poland there. They rode the heart out for one man.
Okay, he recovered it as.
Now, as they see Kwiatkowski deliver for Poland the first ever gold medal.
I remember to breathe.
Yes.
Simon Gerrans, by the way, who has had a brilliant season, goes through in second place, a silver medal for Australia, and Alejandro Valverde in the same position he was a year ago.
Another podium for Valverde and another World Championship miss. I love that, the fact that just like yesterday with Paris Ferrand-Prévot, that moment they realise that they are the best rider in the world, that they are going to be in that rainbow jersey, and Patrick Lefevre, he has his world title.
Yes, he has another wonderful result from a rider of the Amiga Farmer Quick Step squad today, of course, riding in his country colours of Poland, and Polish riders on rival trade teams really drove this race for him in tactics which seemed so strange at the time, but they put him in a position, and then when he came to the last section, he took his chance and he went, and that was a most brilliantly well taken championship for Michael Kwiatkowski, 24 years of age. This year he's finished 5th in the Amstel Gold Classic, he's finished 3rd in the Flèche Wallonne, 3rd in the Liège-Bastogne-Liège. He won the national time trial champion of his country, but this one is the big one. At 24 years of age, the champion of the world. And how's that for confidence? Freewheeling to the line while they battle out.
I don't believe it.
Gerrans getting the silver medal on our left as Valverde takes another 3rd place.
4th place, Matti Breschel. 5th place, Greg van Avermaet. Tony Gallopin in 6th, Philippe Joubert in 7th, Alexander Christophe in 8th, John Degenkolb in 9th, and Nasser Bouhanni is 10th. All the names we expected: Cancellara, Ben Zwift, Sonny Colbrelli, Michael Matthews, Ramunas Navardauskas, Daryl Impey, and then the first for Poland, Maciej Paterski. The last one to stay with his team leader comes in 17th.
At the end of the day, with speed of over 39 kilometers an hour, only 57 riders at this moment have crossed the finishing line.
And here on the bronze medal, Alejandro Valverde from Spain.
Okay, time for a recovery ride.
But I'm afraid he's on the podium in his 4th, 3rd place finish in his championship.
And for now, also get something to drink.
Seem too disappointed, I must say, Alejandro Valverde.
Well,
Still smiling.
he just said, I did what I came out to do here, that was get a medal for Spain. Gracious in defeat, but I don't think we'll be particularly happy with bronze. He said in an interview this week, this was my last chance to get a world title. I'm not so sure which member we might see in bronze.
This man here, Michael Kwiatkowski, receives his rainbow jersey from Brian Coxon, the president of the Union Cycliste Internationale, as the rain now comes down rather heavily. Zbigniew Struk finished 2nd in Plouay back in the year 2000 for Poland. This man's got the title for the country.
It's the exact same podium we had this year in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Of course, it was Simon Gerrans winning it there ahead of Kwiatkowski and Valverde. But the same 3 guys are on the podium now, and it shows that it is like a classic today.
Well, yeah, I guess the course was set to racing.
16.6 kilometre course around the tough little climbs that we featured in the under-23 race yesterday. So the riders are getting themselves lined up for the start of this afternoon's race, and we'll just show you some sights and sounds of this wonderful area as we build up to the start. Joining in with the sign-on and getting themselves prepared for what is going to be, I'm sure, a very attacking race. Sitting alongside me is a rider who featured in this race last year, and it's wonderful to have her alongside me to guide us through exactly what's going to happen as we see Ashley Moorman of South Africa sign on. Exactly what's going to happen as we make our way onto this circuit and the little tough climbs. Very warm welcome to Rachel Nayland. Rachel, good afternoon. We're seeing now the Italian riders sign on. Some of them are your teammates, and I think we're going to have a fantastic race today.
Good afternoon, Anthony. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this broadcast. What a beautiful day in Tuscany.
It's absolutely, it's lovely and warm. The sun's out. The Italian riders are going to thrive in being in front of their home crowd. We've just seen Giorgia Bronzini sign on, the double world champion. There's the Italian squad. Now, thinking about today's race, Rachel, the temperature, as you can see, 26 degrees centigrade, hardly any wind. Looks like it might be a total contrast to what might happen tomorrow. You know these roads, you know the area. What do you think might happen on this course that we're going to see today?
I think we're in for a big day, isn't it? It's just an incredible course that it winds through the hills, the foothills of Tuscany, almost 60 kilometres of flat roads, and then we hit, of course, the laps in Florence, which consists of quite a hard 4-kilometre climb, a technical descent, and then a very steep 10% short climb midway through the course. So, you know, it's a real mixed bag, and I think we're in for a real treat of a race today.
I think we are. Well, let's take a look at the course now. As you see, we've got this little climb just after the start, then we go into the finishing circuit. 16.6 kilometres, 5 laps of this course, which make up the entire route of 140 kilometres, or just a little bit over that. So a big field of riders now, getting themselves lined up. 141 starters in this women's elite road race today. Right at the front, of course, the riders from the Netherlands. We've got a few sights and sounds in the background of some of Francesco Moser's bikes in his collection that he has. But let's just, as Francesco continues to talk, we'll just think about the riders in the field today. So Rachel, we've got Marianne Vos, of course, the defending champion. She's on sparkling form. But when you're trying to come back and try and win a race when you're already the champion, it's so difficult, isn't it?
Exactly right. I think Marianne doesn't take any race for granted. Every race for her is special. We know that she's an absolute champion. She races hard and fast and aggressively every race, but she has such a strong team behind her. Lucinda Brown, we've seen her form late this season. Anna van der Breggen is just in flying form also. So the strength of this team, and also the camaraderie between them, as we've seen in the big races, they know how to perform, they know how to race.
Now, thinking about the Italian team, we've got Giorgia Bronzini leads that as usual, but in that we've got Luca Borghini, we've got Rosella Rato as well. It's an interesting combination of riders in that Italian squad. So the question really is, what's going to happen? You know, are they going to ride for Bronzini? Will they play a different card and try?
Okay, close the streams on my side again. So, if anybody sends me a message, then I don't tend not to look at the stream much when I'm on the bike. So I don't reply to you right away. It's only because I can't see what's streaming on the screen.
The Dutch team, it's probably a little bit more unpredictable, and I think they have a lot of surprises put out today. So just an enormously strong team, the Italians.
If you're sitting at the moment as a team director, you know, or one of the riders in this squad, and you're thinking about Mariana Voss, everyone's always looking at her thinking, right, we've got to try and work our way out of beating Mariana Voss because she's a defending champion, she's so talented. Would you play those sort of games? Would you be talking as a team last night about, right, she's going to expect us to ride for bronze either, let's try a different tactic, let's try something different?
Absolutely, I think they're going to try and anticipate the Dutch, but also, you know, be on the front.
What we'll do now, near the end, I'm going to just power down. Okay, so I can coast to the end now. I'm going to just change my shirt.
Underestimate Mariana Voss and her ability to climb time trial and also descend. So that's one thing I'll be watching out for is what happens on the technical descents of the course.
And we know that the technical descents on this course are, you know, they're very, you go over the top of one of the climbs, it narrows right down and then it's very, very fast downhill. So it can have a bearing on what might happen in this race today.
Absolutely, and you know, if there's an attack on the downhill, that could just completely make the race. But we know the Italians are very, very good technically and good at descending, and also the Dutch. So that could be a key feature in this race.
We're just looking here at the rundown of the riders that we're going to see featuring in today's race. There's the American squad. They have, of course, got Carmen Small and Evie Stevens, two riders who can feature. There's the Australian squad with Shara Gillow, Lauren Kitchen, Amanda Spratt, Carly Taylor, another strong German team as well. The Russians are there. We'll talk about them as well as we go through the race. Four riders from Great Britain with Lizzie Armistead as the team leader, with Lucy Garner, who's a double world champion as a junior. There's the Canadian squad, another strong team, and the French, if they can do what the under-23 men did yesterday, could be very, very interesting in this race. Then we get down to the rundown of nations that don't have quite so many.
Yeah, beyond a minute or so, just going to change my shirt first.
Also Linda Phillipson, who always features in these
It's a
races
bit cold.
as well, who was really disappointed a couple of days ago with yet again not finishing in the gold medal position in the
It's not
individual
really
time trial. So Linda
good to
Phillipson,
struggle with your bike
will
either.
have the bit between her teeth today and will be trying to come back and take a gold medal if she possibly can. She might feature in this race, particularly if she can get herself in a bit of a breakaway, because she was a winner of a stage just a few weeks ago in a stage race where she just time trialled away and took a lot of minutes. She's not likely to be allowed to do that today, but you just never know. So that's the makeup of the 141 riders in the field. Number 141 is Salma Khalid, who's from Jordan, and the first time that we've seen the Jordanian riders take part in these races. She finished at the end of the field in the individual time trial, but Salma Khalid's coach asked in the press conference how could she become a top rider in the world, asked Ellen Van Dijk if it was possible to move from the last round.
Okay, so that's my plan now. Where the mouse pointer is, that's where I am going to climb to.
Very, very warm, a little bit of reflective atmosphere on the start line for these riders as they get focused, get ready for 140 kilometres of racing. It's a 57-kilometre run in to the centre of Firenze. Then we have the 5 laps of 16.6 kilometres that the riders face. And we're lucky today that we get to see the entire race, so you'll get to see all the attacks, you'll get to see everything that happens, you'll get to see which countries are in the news,
wish them all the best of luck today. And, of course, the Germans and the Russians and the great British. But, anything can happen on a one-day race, the World Championship. There's a lot of nerves involved. There's a lot of, people are just ready to go out and enter absolutely anything. There are a lot of special things that come into running the World Championship. And it's race like no other.
Tell me about the preparation as we just actually seen the riders all off the start line now. The Dutch riders leaving the Hamilton
Problems with snoring.
their Italian business in Lucca. So I've got, quite a good little support network there, and quite a good family, and people to enjoy my professional cycling life with. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Sam spoke to my new adopted favourite rider in the peloton purely because he's got the best cycling name you could ever have.
Absolutely, Sam is a great guy, and he's had a fantastic year so far this year.
We talked about him a lot yesterday. So he's the new adopted favourite name in the peloton.
How can you not with Sam spoke to the name?
Exactly. We just see Lauren Kitchen now setting the tempo on the front as we make our way in towards the centre. The crowds are getting bigger and bigger all the time now as we head down towards the river. And we get onto the long straight roads into the centre of the city. And now we're getting very, very close to the centre of Florence, as you can see on the horizon. The Duomo, which dominates the skyline. The Ponte
Okay, so I'm only going to do half an hour, 30 minutes on here.
very famous bridge and make their way to the roadside to cheer these riders on. And there is a big, big crowd all the way around this course now. On the right-hand side of the peloton come the Australians as they look to set the tempo at the front. Noticeably, as the helicopter holds alongside the elite women's road race, the pace is starting to ratchet up all the time, purely, as Rachel's been talking about, by this washing machine effect of riders.
I'm thinking now as well, I might give the Sunday race a miss. But it's only 500 metres of footstool climbing tomorrow morning. It doesn't really fall into my climbing goal for the year. That I can race for 500 metres. I use the same energy as I would have done for 1500 metres.
And I think that's probably the reason why there's been no breakaway established.
Yeah, no one's able to get any sort of gap. Anyone who's managed to accelerate has not had the ability to even open up the gap for more than a couple of seconds before they've been reeled back in. As we look down from the helicopter on the city as they turn left and right into a little bit more of a technical section over one of the main roads, and then they'll head in towards the kind of slammed area before they make their way down back onto the banks of the river and then race into this finishing circuit, which complete 5 times the main part of this World Championship circuit along the railway now. And still a long, long line of riders now. The peloton having gone from very wide roads to one long line. And now the pace is certainly very, very high at the front of this race. And
Well, everyone's supposed to bike today.
we've got a number of nations who are keen to keep the tempo high. It's Sweden, the United States of America,
I still got certain bike brands
towards the front.
in the UK.
To keep in one long line all the way through the finish line.
I dropped the prices of all their top of the range bikes by about 50%. When I checked, we only had the medium sized and bikes left.
Important moment in this road race as the American team hit the front.
Medium is a bit too small for me, but this bike I'm using right now is only a medium. It's noticeably too small.
Really fast increase in tempo.
That's right, you can see the effect of that with the long, drawn out, strung out line of riders. And this especially happens when you have a lot of corners, a really high pace with three riders or 4 riders in the same team, as you can see the Americans on the front driving it into the base of the first climb.
So along the banks of the Alpe River, the Americans are
I
towards
think for the fact that we didn't have the right size,
down the peloton. A few riders just
I didn't buy it.
rails as we now approach the famous bridge across the Alpe River, the Ponte with the tourists walking around the centre there.
Which is probably good for me because next bike I get, I don't want a carbon bike anyway.
How can you have a better setting for a world championship?
At my age,
It is totally stunning, isn't it?
spending a bit extra for
The sun's out.
carbon fibre or super lightweight aero is kind of pointless for me now. And we're actually going to go for a steel bike. Maybe Chinelli or Fairlight.
Looks like it's got a lovely fluid pedaling style, and going up past the Soigneurs on the side of the road, we're now starting to hand bottles out. No musettes getting handed out by the looks of things. It's all about just fluids right now, getting some fluids, some electrolytes into the body.
That's right, it's very, very warm. It's probably about 27 degrees out there. There's not a lot of shade on this course either, so with such a hard and fast start to the race, all the girls are going to be looking to get fluids on board. Most of the time in women's races, we don't tend to eat sandwiches or bars, and it's quite hard to really chew. And all of our races are really full gas from the start, so we don't have that lull where we sit up and let the breakaway go away. And as you can see, especially in a one-day race, it's really hard and fast from the start. So it's not always that easy to chew and take on real food. So the choice of nutrition in women's racing is more towards gels and sugars and electrolyte drinks.
When you get towards this area, right, the World Championships, where you've got all the Soigneurs on the right-hand side as you ride up to them, and you're looking for bottles and all that sort of thing, it's chaos.
That's right, you have to really signal and use your voice to move over to the side and make sure that you're over there. If you need a bottle, you make sure you're over there in good time so that you're not cutting off riders and trying to make any sudden moves, because it can get quite dangerous at the speed zone. But importantly, you need to make sure that you get a bottle when you need to, because that can make or break the race. If you don't have enough hydration on board or enough sugars on board, the last thing you want to happen is to have good legs, but to not be able to put out energy, not to be able to make the moves or go with moves because you go under flat, and that's just the worst possible thing that could happen.
And if you are in a race and you move over, do you generally take a bottle anyway and look around see if a teammate wants it and then get rid of it if you don't need it, or what's the normal rule of life?
That's right. Always
Okay, so I'm going to move myself
from your team, from your senior,
along now.
the team, and give it to a teammate. Absolutely.
All about teamwork and all about
Listen, not doing the full rise. The second time.
So all important to get hydrated, particularly on a day like this, as we watch number 57. This is Michael Polsball of Belgium. The Belgian squad with Jessie Downs, Lisbeth de Vogt, Sophie de Wust. Michael Polsball is the leader by 16 seconds. Also in that team, Annelies van Doorselaer and Celine van Severen. That's the team of Belgium. 15 seconds now, the advantage.
I think we'll change the
United States of America setting the tempo.
To be hot and sunny in Vitama, and that's the way it's going to be. I think now the clouds are very heavy indeed. And the plugins know all about this, but look at the rain here. They climb yet again. Joe setting the pace with Dimitri Konishev on to lap number 11 of 15 circuits.
just to make things a bit more interesting.
Now they go round that corner, somebody didn't make it at all, and has gone straight on.
Okay, he's going to cycle on field at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to end this race in a minute or two. Okay, I'm going to end this ride in a minute. So shall I do a Stelvio recovery ride? So if I don't hear any message back in the next minute or so, well, I'll do a different descent. I'll do Tourmalet instead. Okay, time to sort out a final recovery.
Notable absentees, probably Richard Barenki is the big noted absentee because he's been riding well all day. Fulham and is out of this group as well. To be going quite well. Well, the risk is always there on the descent because the brakes never work quite as well as they should. And then sort of slide as you apply the brakes to the rim, you get that film of water between the brake and the rim and the bike. It gives you that horrible feeling it's accelerating rather than slowing down. These are the strong men in the world cycling right now because on this circuit you can't cheat your way around and hope to win the sprint as 1 or 2 world titles have been decided in long years gone by. On this circuit you've got to come out, you've got to give it your best and you've got to hope. Well, looks to me as though we've got SKT on the attack again down there. And we have the rider in the red jersey, I think, could well be Puccini. Now they've only just gone clear.
little select group is now deciding what they're going to do about it. But one thing is for sure, that the Spanish have got this race highly under control at the moment. Luigi Puccini is a Swiss rider with Red Van Norway, and that's him there, number 33. And he's read this move quite well. He's got himself a very good rider in Escort team, because he is another rider who's having a tremendous season. Retired professional back in 1990.
Oh.
When he had himself a clutch
I
of
thought
almost 100 wins.
there were some riders on here.
And now he's got himself into the lead. Going out here on lap number 13. And Puccini and Escartini have got themselves about 15-20 seconds gap, says tell me on the screen at the moment. The clock is on feet now. Now lap flanking, bringing them to around about 25 seconds. Through the feed station, and on lap 13, 3 laps still to go. We shall the race appear to be doing so. Well, Sorensen, who's just gone through the left of our picture. Italy, with an intrusion from Colombia, the way the action is coming at the moment. Alpe, the number 1 team in the world, again providing us with men in the thick of the action. There's Alpe number 66. Has that strange squat style, similar to Pantani.
Whereas I need to get a bit more climbing in. I'm only 800 metres ahead of my goal schedule now. Well, that's a bit worrying. That's like 1 day climbing.
Not really escaping yet, but Mr. Verling, the commissaire, the red hat on. I'm not sure that he's going to be right in the gap yet, but it's probably
way behind schedule.
bigger than it appears on television. But they can see the cars, they can see the 2 leaders, and the Italians are having to do all of the work now because they're under the Spanish escort. Pelliccioli making a rhythm. The gap is 15 seconds, so holding. Pantani, the red, looking very, very concentrated. Escartini is doing the majority of the riding here. Puccini. riders still on the course. Once over the top of this hill, it's down to the finishing line, and then the riders about a lap and a half from the finish. The work being done all the time by SKT. The teams make the move, I'm not sure how the legs put it out. It seems to me that the straightaway is clear, it's well under control of the chasers behind. You can see by the way the riders struggle on this bike just how steep it is. Our cameras really belie the climb. It is a vicious, vicious climb for World Championship. It's probably the most difficult circuit since 1980 in Solange, when Bernard Hinault won what was most certainly an elimination race there, as riders each lap just simply dropped away rather than break away for them, and in the end Hinault managed to go behind. Force down the balance in Solange.
Okay, I'm going to close the stream down now. And do another climb.
As they continue to apply the pressure. He's actually keeping a huge gear turn there, and he's being marked now by Abraham.
Okay, it's me finished.